Hello, my name is Matthew, and next month my parents are moving into a new home, and it's very exciting. And since they signed all of the paperwork, they have been very busy in the house. My uh, my old childhood home, they've been very busy sorting and triaging and separating and packing, getting all of the boxes and pulling things out from all the drawers and closets and getting everything ready. And about over a week ago, I visited my parents and we went through a bunch of childhood effects. And I found a whole bunch of stuff that I will be giving to my little niece. Uh, my childhood tricycle and a little scooter, a box of little cars and um, some children's books that I had when I was a child, and plush stuffed animals. Wonderful. It's all packed in my car, including a pogo stick. And you might not even know what a pogo stick is. It's this single cylinder that has two big springs on the side with foot pedals and handles. And you bounce on it like Tigger, as if you were Tigger bouncing on Tigger's tail. Uh, and I can't wait. Right now, my car looks like a madhouse because I live in a tiny house and I can't bring all those things in here. So I have tricycle wheels and pogo stick, uh, pogos and scooter handles all coming out of the seats. In any event, um, my father gave me all of these action figures that were still in the box. So they had that cardboard backing that would have the action figure advertisements on the back and other action figures that are available and what's part of a collection and details and descriptions of each action figure. They're all um, superheroes or super villains. I remember it was there was Robin and Batman and the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four and the Penguin with his penguin umbrella. The most impressive piece was a large box set of the Uncanny X-Men and had two tiered um, displays of all of the X-Men, and even on the box it said collector's edition. And I've mentioned on the channel before the local comic book shop, which I had recently visited in order to acquire a copy of one of the Batman graphic novels in order to have my buddy read with Steve Donahue. And it's been there for years. It's the comic book shop that um, my father and my older brother we all used to go to, where we got all these action figures in the first place. And my dad said, "Why don't you take it up there and just see if they'll give you anything for them? My parents don't want them. I don't want them. Nobody wants them. So maybe they'll take something. If they don't want anything, see if they'll just take them for free." And I had shopping bags full of these action figures in my car for about a week. I've been busy at work. I hadn't had time to run that errand. So this afternoon, I went down to the comic book shop and I walk into the store, um, shopping bags in hand. Um, and I wasn't quite sure. The name of the store is Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. So I was going on the assumption that um, it's permissible or normal to walk into the shop with bags of stuff like this. And it was. I saw the proprietor of the shop and explained my parents are moving. I have all this stuff. What do you think? And straight away he goes, "Okay, let's look at it. Let's take everything out of the bags." And he's asking, how much are you thinking about this? How much are you thinking for these items? I said, really, not much. I'm just seeing if they're worth anything. And he goes through, and it takes just a minute, a few minutes, and he says, "I'll give you $70 in store credit." And I was stunned. I was so surprised by that number. I thought it was an extremely high number. It's store credit, but $70. I thought he was going to say $5, $10, something like that. And I happily say, "Well, that's terrific. Why, thank you. Yes." And he goes, "Okay, great. I'll go through all of this. If you want to shop around, whenever you're ready, I'll meet you at the counter." I turn around and immediately realize I don't really want anything, and I didn't know where to begin looking. I've been in this shop a handful of times in their new location, and when I was a child, I remember being there. And the similarity is that it's this labyrinthine complex of cardboard file cabinets lining the walls, making aisles, just brimming with comic books and graphic novels in an organization pattern that I don't think I will ever understand. The last time I was there, I was going through the Batman and Superman section. That's where I went first. I thought, well, I've been wanting to find a really great classic Superman, so I'll spend some time looking. And then I go over to Batman and browse around. I've been watching Michael K. Vaughan's terrific series on the Epic issues or reissues, the Marvel Epic editions, and Steve Donohue's companion videos to all of those Epic editions. And so I've gained an interest and had a little bit of knowledge on some things that I might want to look for. I thought, well, those Thor editions have been looking really interesting, and maybe a Spider-Man. I was thinking of artists' names that I've had heard Michael K. Vaughan talk about, and Steve as well, Jack Kirby, and Stan Lee, and Mike Ditka, and John Romita's Sr. and John Romita's Jr. I was trying to think which one was the good Romitas. Alex Ross, which I'm reading right now, and thinking, well, maybe I could find one of those. Not only could I not find anything, I didn't even know how to start looking. I could ask the proprietor, but I wanted to be casually browsing. And some of the things that I would pick up, there was a big Thor edition that I thought looked really neat, and I opened it up, and the illustrations were beautiful, and the thing was like $60. And a lot of these graphic novels are really expensive. 60 was kind of on the high end for what I saw today, but 30, 40, $50 for these editions, and not necessarily hardbacks, so tremendously expensive. I went over to the new release section and picked up that classical variety of a comic book on the newsstand, and they were woefully thin, just these flimsy, thin. It seemed as if they only had 5 pages to them, and you would only really be interested. I would only be interested if I wanted to continue along, find a storyline that I wanted to go to the comic book shop each week and pick up the newest edition, which I don't. So there was one thing I knew that I wanted to get, and that was a packet of baseball cards. So these Topps trading cards, baseball cards, I think they make just terrific bookmarks. So it's $1.25, get maybe 20 or 30 bookmarks out of this, get to brush up on my baseball trivia. And I did get a comic book or a graphic novel. and I picked up The Death of Superman. I've heard about it before. I know that it's a classic. I sort of remember when it came out because it was an event that went past the comic book world. I remember seeing like news items or featurettes. It would come up on television that there's this new storyline of the death of Superman, and I thought I would try it. I've mentioned before, I'd really like to read just a great Superman story in his prime. Looking at those Golden Age Superman comics, I was looking at them today, and I would open one up, and there's Superman like fighting a cowboy or something. I put it back. But I thought I would give this a try. I have now I have like this was $18 and plus the baseball cards. It turns out everything was half off because it's Labor Day weekend, and so I still have about $60 worth of store credit, which is not great because Steve Donahue and I might be reading more comic books, and I have a little fund. Um, if you have any recommendations on any variety of comics, please let me know. And it was funny, after the sale, he takes out one of those white cardboard backers that you would use if you were going to archive and store your comic books, where they have that plastic laminate sleeve and then the white backer, and then you would put the comic book in and seal it. He used that white backer, and he asks for my first name, and he writes Matthew, and then he writes 70, and then he writes um, what I'm being charged for today, and he does long subtraction with the remainders and writes the balance, and then he just puts it next to the register. And I said, do I need that, or do you want my last name? And he goes, no, you're the only one. We only have one Matthew. And I go, oh, okay. And I just walked out the store. So I just sort of have the promise of a store credit. Um, so anyway, I don't know anything about the contents of this book. I very much know the title. Just a little story time about going to a comic book shop. Let me know if this is interesting or at all. Um, so thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like, and take care.